Councilmember Radfield, can you observe that we have a quorum present, either here or on Zoom?
Yes, sir, we do.
Quorum being present, I now declare this meeting open. And I'm going to ask one of my old standbys, Lonnie Waters, if you will, please do an invocation for us tonight.
Lord, as we about to go into this meeting, we just ask you to give guidance and direction. Lord, we thank you for the people that sits on our council, management. Give them all the strength and guidance that you can. Lord, we just thank you for this rain that we've had, and we appreciate the abundance of it. Lord, we just ask you for these blessings and the favors in your name. Amen.
Councilmember Lewis.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, you have in front of you our agenda. I entertain a motion at this time to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
A second,
Second.
please. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same. And the motion carries. The next item is our consent agenda that has been presented to everyone. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. And the consent agenda is approved. And that brings us to unfinished business. Consideration and approval of alcohol license for Mountain City Outdoors. And I'll let our city manager, Sonia, bring this to us.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Tonight on our unfinished business is just a formality that we need to go through. An application has been received from Mountain City Outdoor. That application has an old address and it's coming from old ordinance. You will be addressing some changes and revisions to an ordinance later on in this meeting under new business. For formality reasons, I'm going to ask that you vote this application down, and once you address whether or not you're going to change the ordinance, then a new application must be submitted with the new address and the new location. And that communication has been made to the Mountain City Outdoor Company.
So, and they're in the yard.
Yes.
I want them to understand that we're going to turn this application down tonight if council so votes, and then we will allow you to reapply at another location for the same business. Council, I've entertained a motion to disapprove this request from Mountain City Outdoors.
Motion to deny the consideration.
Second. Have a motion and a second to deny. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. And the motion is denied. And that brings us to new business. Consideration and approval for Ordinance 2022-06 to annex parcel 041016 consisting of 18.97 acres located at 3354 Camp Road into the City of Jasper. And we'll ask our Development Director, Lonnie Waters, to bring this to us.
Mayor and Council, on this item, based on the analysis of this application using the standards and criteria found in section 94-246 of the zoning ordinance, staff recommends to approve the request of the annexation into the City of Jasper and rezone the property from county highway business to C2 general commercial. Should mayor and council approve the annexation request, it is expected that the following minimum standards are demonstrated and met as requested by staff during the appropriate approval process. If the current proposal does not meet the minimum standards, it is understood that the development plans will be altered to come in compliance. This has been before planning and zoning. They voted unanimous to recommend council pass this, and then we had a public hearing, and we have had nobody express that they were against this at all.
Thank you, sir. Council, I entertain a motion to approve this request for annexation.
Motion to approve annexation based on section 94, 246, annexation and rezoning, citing Article 1, 2, 5, 6, and 7, and any other regulations outlined in zoning ordinance or ordinances of the city.
And I would suggest that you add the approval of the annexation ordinance and the rezoning ordinance.
We actually are going to do the rezoning on the next one down.
Okay.
Just to take care of that, because you sent us two different ordinances, so we are trying to be very, very
Transparent.
attentive to exactly what you've asked for.
Okay.
So I have a motion and a second to approve this annexation. Any further discussion by council? Hearing none. I would, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same. And the motion carries. Article 2, consideration and approval of ordinance number 2022-07, to speak to your point, David, amending the zoning map to rezone parcel 041016, consisting of 18.97 acres, located at 3354 Camp Road, into the City of Jasper as C2 commercial. Council, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
Any further discussion by council on this ordinance? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same. And the motion carries. Item number 3, consideration and approval of ordinance number 2022-08, amending the zoning map to rezone parcel 041016. Excuse me. Item number 3 is consideration and approval of ordinance 2022-08 to deannex from the City of Jasper parcel 028-051.005, consisting of 33.93 acres, and parcel 028-051.006, consisting of 11.0 acres. And we'll ask Lonnie to bring this to us.
Okay, these residents have purchased this approximately 45 acres. It is on Grandview Road. It is the last section of land that is in the city limits. It's, they're wanting to build a house up there, put it in pasture, have livestock, and so they have come to and applied to de-annex it from the city. This was presented to planning and zoning. They voted unanimously to allow this. Per our city attorney, we have looked at it. It does not create an island, so it is the last section, so staff recommends that the de-annexation be allowed.
Council, I entertain a motion to de-annex the stated property.
Motion to approve ordinance 2022-08 for de-annexation.
And a second, please.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by council? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same. And carried unanimously. Thank you, sir. Item number 4, consideration and approval for variance to the City of Jasper sign ordinance. I think this might have come forth before.
Yes.
You will bring it.
The staff recommendation is based on the analysis of the application using the review criteria for section 95-71 of the sign ordinance. Staff recommends to approve the variance request with the compliance of the guidelines set forth in section 94-48, electronic sign faces. Section 95-49, dismantle technology, and section 95-50, malfunction defaults within the City of Jasper sign ordinance. This sign is a non-conforming sign that's already been there for many years on 515. This change will allow them to make the sign smaller. It will look neater and be more attractive to people traveling. This variance will also, in the request, our ordinances indicate that the change of the advertisements be every 15 seconds. And they have asked, due to their technology and other signs across North Georgia, that they change the advertisement every 8 seconds. So the variance is for the sign change to electronic instead of static boards, and to allow them to do 8-second changes on the signs. Staff recommends that we approve this, and it went before planning and zoning, and there was unanimous to recommend that council vote for this.
And this came before us on our last work session.
It came before, there's been
We've had
no,
all of the hearings that had.
it has. There's been no conversations with any of staff asking for it not to happen, so nobody has been against it.
Council, I entertain a motion to approve this variance to the City of Jasper sign ordinance.
Motion to approve based on 9571, 9448, 9549, and 9550 as presented.
And I need a second, please.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by council? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same. And this carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor Council.
Item number 5 is consideration and approval of resolution 2022-10, extension to our temporary moratorium, and we'll ask our city manager to bring that to us.
Thank you, sir. As a result of the complexity of drafting the modified zoning ordinance and the current efforts at master planning for the utility system and the development department, City Council has requested to adopt a 90-day extension to the moratorium until August 15, 2022, in order to give staff additional time to put processes in place and make sure that our changes to our zoning ordinances have been enacted.
And you said October the 15th, 2022, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Council, I entertain a motion to approve this resolution 2022-10. So moved. And a second, please.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion by council?
Mayor, I do appreciate the committee members that I serve with on this and legal's input, also our management team here at the city. I understand frustration on some public individuals' behalf. This is simply not an easy or simple task. This is very complex, so we appreciate your patience.
Thank you. Any further discussion by council? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. And the motion carries unanimously. Item number 6, consideration and approval of resolution 2022-11, a moratorium on temporary residential annexation. We'll ask our city manager and our city attorney to discuss this.
Thank you, Mayor. So in an effort to preserve a healthy community growth and to protect the city's natural resources, a temporary moratorium is requested to be imposed on all residential annexations and residential annexation applications received for 1 year until July 15th, 2023. The temporary moratorium will not apply to commercial and/or industrial annexations. City Council is requested to consider that.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2022-11.
Have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And I'll ask for discussion from council, if any. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same. Thank you, Dan. Opposed, same. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 7 is consideration and approval of a new patch for the Jasper Police Department. We'll ask our Chief Matt Hawkins to bring this to us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As y'all will know, the past couple of months, maybe 3 months, we have been working on a new patch, and I say we, that is officers, myself, even civilian staff, is all kind of working together to come up with a patch. It should be in y'all's packet, and that is it. Huge change from where we are right now. It's not as bright. They don't have a river. That is sharp top, part of that is sharp top mountain, so it actually has established 1857. It's very clean, so we ask for y'all's approval and make another change to the department. Y'all do that.
Mayor, this was discussed at Public Safety Committee and approved by the committee.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve this new patch for the Jasper Police Department.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by council? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. We have a new patch.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Item 8 is consideration and approval of a residential sanitation service proposal. And we'll ask our city manager, Sonia James, to start the program.
Thank you, Mayor.
A program.
So as a part of a new service delivery strategy that the city is undertaking, this is our first step. So staff has met with representatives from Waste Pro USA regarding outsourcing of our sanitation services for our residential customers. With this, we feel like that there will be an efficiency built into our sanitation services. Our customers will see a more defined customer delivery benefits, and they will be getting a 96-gallon rolling cart for their use. And we'll be communicating some policy around the services at a later date to our customers. But we're looking at doing service delivery a different way. We feel like this will help with our workforce retention strategy. Our number of workforce that we currently have are stretched thin to not only take care of our sanitation services, our streets and parks, and making sure that we have all of our right-of-ways mowed, and we are pulling from the same pool of staff for all of these items and requiring them to take care of those on a weekly basis. So we are looking at outsourcing some of our service deliveries, and we'd like to start, this is phase 1, we would like to start with outsourcing our residential sanitation services. We will be eventually looking at outsourcing our commercial sanitation services as well. But what staff is asking for City Council to vote towards tonight is outsourcing of our residential sanitation services.
Okay, council, I will entertain a motion to approve this presentation for proposal for residential sanitation services.
Motion to approve item 8 is presented.
And
I'll make a second.
second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion by council,
Mayor, comment?
please?
City manager, it is important for the public and our workforce to know that no one is losing employment over this decision.
That is correct. No one will be losing employment.
Thank you.
And if I might ask one further point,
Yes, sir.
at this point, we see no raise in prices for our customers.
Currently, we do not.
Currently, we do not, so I think that would be a good item to tell them. So.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Sonia, what's the timeline for the service to begin?
We are in contract negotiations right now. I'm delivering them some contract changes, but we anticipate a go-live date no later than September for residential.
September. Okay.
Hopefully sooner, but no later than September.
Any further discussions or questions by council? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. And it's carried unanimously. Item 9 is consideration and approval of reclassification of firefighter positions. We'll ask our Chief John Sherrill to bring this to us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Everybody doing okay this evening? All right, what I'm asking for here is not to add 3 additional positions. I'm asking to reclassify 3 firefighter positions into sergeant positions. The purpose behind this is to help our chain of command. Right now, we have lieutenants who are our shift commanders, and if one of them is off, we have 4 firefighters there then, and we don't have anybody to lead that shift who's designated to. We generally have a firefighter that will step up and take care of that, but they're not compensated to do that role, and it's not something that's in their job description. So we've got a new job description we've created that's been approved by Human Resources, and we're asking to add that rank into our structure. In your package, you can see our current rank structure, which is chief, assistant chief, captain, and then 3 lieutenants and 3 firefighters under them. We would change one of those, which you can see on the next sheet, to a sergeant's position. So you would end up with a lieutenant, a sergeant, and 2 firefighters. We've worked with finance to see what the additional cost would be as far as from this year forward. We based that cost on July 1 through the end of this year, and it ended up being a difference of $4,392 to implement this. Lindsay fact-checked me a little bit there, and I planned on some overage just in case. I factored all the information at an overtime rate, because I didn't know if somebody would be working overtime to pick up extra shift. But she estimated that I was $1,200 over on that, and like I said, I factored in some overage just to cover us. And then the next year, that position, well, those 3 positions would be a total of $13,303 on top of what we're paying now. This also adds, important because it adds a link in that chain of command, but it shows our firefighters, it gives them a place to move forward. It shows progression, where they can move up and stay with City of Jasper and move up within our fire department. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Chief. Council, at this point, I'd entertain a motion to approve the reclassification of firefighter positions as presented.
Motion to approve item number 9 as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by council? Any questions for Sheriff or for? Yes, sir.
This did go to committee. Committee's in favor of it.
This did come out of committee, yes. Any further questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Go get us some sergeants.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 10 is consideration approval of adoption of the 2018 edition of NFPA 101, the Life Safety Code. And Chief, we'll let you bring this to us also.
Okay, what we're asking is we're asking the mayor and council to adopt the 2018 version of NFPA 101, which is the Life Safety Code, as well as the Georgia amendments. Georgia comes in and they will amend to add on top of the original Life Safety Code. You can't weaken it, but you can add on certain amendments to it, and that's what Georgia does periodically. So we're asking you to adopt the 2018 version of NFPA 101 and the Georgia amendments to this time. The reason we're asking for this is NFPA 101 Life Safety Code is the bedrock for our fire marshal as far as what he does is inspections. We've adopted a lot of building codes in the past, like IBC and things like that, and those are all very important. But in a lot of those codes, you go and look and they actually reference Life Safety Code. IBC is one of them, so it'll go in there and it'll tell you when you try to determine an occupancy type, you have to refer to Life Safety Code to do that. So we need to adopt it to make sure we're setting a clear standard for what we're doing as far as our fire marshal and our codes.
Thank you. And I believe this went through fire committee also, right?
Yes.
Okay. Council, at this point, I'd entertain an approval for the 2018 edition of NFPA 101.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
One question came up in the committee discussion, David. Is there a way to accept the future changes to the NFPA code that the state passes? Or do we have to approve it every time there's a change?
When it's a state mandatory minimum code, you don't really adopt the code per se because the state has done that for you. The state says that's the minimum that you got to do with that particular code. So my understanding is that technically y'all just make a motion that you're going to enforce that state minimum mandatory code, and then you give notice to DCA that you've elected to enforce that code, you know, whatever it is, either now or as amended in the future. And part of the reason why you give that notice to DCA is if the state adopts in the future another amendment to the Life Safety Code or any of the other state mandatory codes, they have you on the list of an enforcement body and they send you notice of the new amendment so that you know that you got to enforce the new amendment. But since the state is the one that determines what are the mandatory minimum codes, you're just electing to enforce whatever those minimum mandatory codes are, so we don't have to adopt a new ordinance each time it changes.
Yeah, and that was the concern that was discussed.
Okay. Does that mean that we would need to have a resolution done for that? How would we address that? Would we need a resolution written up for
Almost the state does want to see what you're enforcing, but I think just the minute saying that we've agreed to enforce, the Life Safety Code as mandated by the state of Georgia would be sufficient for them. You don't really have to provide the exact code that you're enforcing when it's the mandatory minimum code.
So can I get you just to modify your motion to amend that to include
David, am I hearing you right that we don't need to, or do we need to?
Well, you need a motion that you're going to, a motion for the city to enforce the state mandatory minimum code, that is the life safety code.
So do we change the motion from request to approve adoption to
Adoption and amendment.
and amendments?
Well, a motion for the city to enforce the state mandatory minimum code, that is the life safety code.
Adopt and enforce.
Sure.
Is that what is that what I'm hearing? Okay. Yes, I'll make that change. Wait.
So that being,
We made that one more confusing. I'm sorry I asked the
that
question.
being true, then, well, that helps us down the road, I do believe, too, so. Any further discussion by council? I have a motion and a second. And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. And the motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all very much.
Item 11 is consideration and approval of workforce retention strategies. And we'll ask our city manager, Sonia, to bring this to us.
Thank you, Mayor. In conjunction with examining and researching service delivery strategies, staff has already also been looking at workforce retention strategies. In our current economic climate, it's vital that the city implement some workforce retention strategies to ensure that we remain competitive with surrounding areas. So staff, in the process of evaluating these retention strategies, want to first focus on our service areas to implement these retention strategies. And to coincide with the city's master planning of its utility system, staff has elected to start identifying these strategies for the workforce that's integral to the operation of the water wastewater system. So one strategy that's been identified is that of adjusting the pay scale to create an equity in workforce closer to the surrounding competition. So staff is requesting that City Council consider adopting the following in your packet proposed pay scale for employees that are certified dual operators for the water wastewater system. The current impact to the 2020 budget is estimated to be $38,000 to make this adjustment.
Got it?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept due to consideration of the workforce retention strategy that Sonia just presented.
We have a motion to approve the workforce retention strategy. Second. And motion and a second. Any further discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Sure.
The 38,000, is that annualized, or is that for the next 6 months it'll cost us that much?
That is for the next 6 months, and then through the budget process, we will add those changes into our budget request for 2023. So you won't see it in a lump sum again. You will see it through the compensation lines.
Thank you, Sonia.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. The motion carries unanimously. Item 12 is consideration and approval of change in our alcohol ordinance, number 2022-10. And we're going to ask Lindsay to bring this to us. Lindsay Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. So, as you all recall, we've had an applicant approach us where they're wanting to open an outdoor recreation facility along with a tap room. So, Mr. Sipin's been working with us to come up with a specialty license. And in your packet, you'll see an ordinance that we're asking to amend the alcohol ordinance to include a new outdoor recreational tap room specialty license. This will allow the applicant to sell their recreation items and crafted goods along with drinks by consumption, beer and wine, and for consumption and by the package. If you, I think wine by the package and growlers by the package, but it's all broken down in your ordinance. And we're just asking if y'all will please approve this new specialty license. Mr. Stockton may want to chime in, I don't know.
I will add that Mr. Siphon has done a tremendous job of putting this together.
Yeah.
Every time we've asked him to do a specialty product for us, he's come up with it. So, Mr. Siphon, tell us about this one.
Sure. You know, to me, the trick of the specialty license is to have it be definitive enough where you can allow the proposal to move forward, but it's not so broad that everybody under the sun can come in and say, you know, I want a license too. And so the ordinance's attempt to balance that proposal put forward to us by Mountain City Outdoors to come up with a specialty license to allow them to be successful with their proposal and yet not totally gut our alcohol ordinance where anybody and everybody can get a license. So I've attempted to do that in several ways. One is by, you know, what is the definition of an outdoor recreational store? And so we've limited it to a store that has as its primary activity the retail sale of outdoor recreational apparel and gear, crafted goods, supplies and equipment, and packaged food for outdoor recreational activity. There'll be family-oriented in nature store, meaning that it attracts, you know, people from all age groups. We've limited the basically alcohol sale component to be 20% of the business's gross revenue. It would allow them within the tap room to sell craft beer and wine by the drink, and then they could sell wine by the bottle and growlers of craft beer. So it would allow, I think, what Mountain City Outdoors is wanting to do. It does create a specialty license to allow it to do so. It limits that specialty license to just the central business district, and those restrictions, as I mentioned, it does have certain requirements dealing with the tap room of the store, and while we're at it, I went back and looked at the wine specialty shop specialty license and thought that the language in it was a little bit broader than what we needed for that type of business to be, in that you could argue that there's some ambiguity in the current language of the ordinance that would allow anybody that sells any type of retail product to come in and claim they were a wine specialty shop. So we've tightened up the definition there where the collateral retail sales of product have to be wine related. Instead of any type of merchandise, it's got to be wine related merchandise, which I think makes more sense with a wine specialty shop. and sort of keeps that one from spiraling out of control with everybody and anybody coming in saying, oh, I want to be a wine specialty shop, and you know, and really not what I would consider one, because they're not having as their primary function to sell wine. So I think, you know, the city, that this proposed ordinance is a good compromise, that it'll allow what Mountain City Outdoor wants to do, and yet we're still sort of controlling what gets that specialty license to a very limited type of store, and that will help us, you know, continue to have the type of alcohol sales that we want to have in the city. The ordinance, to me, is a balancing act that tries to walk that line of being accommodating to business and helping out this potential business to come into the city, but yet not just, you know, throw all our regulations out the window to allow them to operate.
Thank you for your efforts on that, David. You've done really a lot of that. I read that through, and I see that tightrope that we're walking there. Thank you. So, council, at this point, I entertain a motion to approve alcohol ordinance number 2022-10.
Motion to approve.
Kurt, thank you.
Second.
Jim, thank you. Have a motion and a second to approve. I'll ask for any further discussion by council at this time.
David, if we talk about prepackaged foods, what is that limited to, or how broad can that be?
On the prepackaged food is just the related merchandise that's part of what I see as camping and recreational supplies. It's not really being a food store product per se. I think we've narrowed it because you can't just sell prepackaged food. You gotta sell the outdoor gear and apparel, you know, that's suitable for all ages, and so, you know, it could be possible that other outdoor apparel and gear stores, if they located within the central business district, could also say, hey, I want a tap room too, and apply for the specialty license. But I think we've limited it to just that type of business. And then with the 80-20 sales restriction, you know, you're not going to have somebody that's mostly operating a bar and selling a parka, you know, once a month. They're going to have to sell that outdoor gear and equipment as their primary activity. So again, you know, it's a balancing, and hopefully we hit that balance. If we get into it in a year from now, we see that it's being abused in some way, well, you can amend the ordinance. And, you know, from my viewpoint, the great thing about an alcohol license is it's only good for 1 year. So you only have a vested right for 1 year. So, you know, next July, if we get into this and we think it's being abused, you can amend the ordinance next August, and then when they want to go forward in 2024, you know, starting January 2024, the new reg would be in effect. So it, you know, again, it was was a balancing, and hopefully we hit the right balance.
Anything further, Jim? Any other council member have any questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 13 is consideration of approval of Axon 13 fleet cameras and 20 body-worn cameras. Chief Maddox, if you would please tell us about these.
So, since the beginning of the year, I think we've had several discussions. Thursday, we had a discussion with the Public Safety Committee. It went well at looking at getting these 20 body-worn cameras and 13 fleet cameras from Axon. Axon is a good company, they're durable, well spoken for, a lot of agencies use them. So we were asking that y'all approve us to have something that we've never had before. I think I heard that we've never had body cameras since 1857 the other
We
day.
did hear that. A lot of other things.
So, the cameras, we did used to have cameras, but that was taken away, and we need them back. We've been very blessed in this community, and I'm very lucky. At some point, we will run out of both of those. So I think this is something that we really need soon.
Thank you, Chief.
And if I may make a comment, this funding would come out of our technology fund.
Technology.
Yes, sir.
And again, this was, you don't want to hear that yet, I'll make a motion to be approved.
So you make a motion that we approve the Axon 13 fleet cameras and the 20 body-worn cameras. All right,
Yes.
I have a motion and I need a second.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Lindsay and a second by Kurt. Motion and a second. All in favor? Please say aye. Opposed, same.
Over there, Mayor.
Opposed, same. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Don't go away. Item 14, and it's our last item practically for the evening. Consideration and approval of the purchase of 15 computers, docking stations, and printers for police vehicles. I'm assuming this is a part of what we're doing, Chief.
Yes, this kind of goes hand in hand, some with the cameras, but also it just helps speed up a lot of stuff with the police officer. It keeps the police officer, someone's out of the police department and then the citizen jobs. They'll be able to do a lot of stuff that they haven't been able to do. Printing will be a nice feature as far as being able to print stuff off for victims or whoever may need it out in the field. But overall, it's going to be a benefit for the officer. They're going to be able to stay out in the field. That's why I want them out there being seen. The good thing with these, as well as the body cameras, everything is now cloud-based, so we don't have to get some kind of server to take up more space. So that's also very nice.
And this was approved, or went through our public safety.
Yes, we discussed this at the same time.
Okay, so.
And this would come out of the technology fund as well.
This was my technology, thank you. Council, I entertain a motion that we approve the purchase of 15 computers, docking stations, and printers for police vehicles.
Motion to approve item 14 as presented.
And second, please.
Second.
Kurt, Jim, motion and a second. Any further discussion by council?
Mayor, I have one, and Chief, I should have asked you the other day, what's the turnaround time on the hardware from Justice One?
On certain things, it can be anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks, just depending, I guess, how quickly we get the order in and the ships out and the other.
Any further questions or comments by Council? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Our final item is committee reports. We'll ask from the Development Committee, Council Members Radfield and Dr. Proctor.
I'd just like to agree with Kirk on his comments about some of the tough decisions we're having to make. It's for the good of the city and for the long-term good that we're making some of these decisions. So appreciate council's support and nothing further to add, sir.
Thank you. Kurt?
I'm good.
Street and Parks Committee, that would be Ann Snavy and John Faust.
Okay, as far as the streets and parks, I want to compliment Jasper City staff for the cleanup and that outstanding job they did for Second Saturday. They did awesome on that. They did real good. Kim, you want to update us on Doris Wigington?
Sure. So, Doris Wigington is in my hands at this point. Where we are is finalizing the RFP, so the request for proposals and bids from qualified professional trail builders. We'll get that out onto the trail builders website so that we can get some good quotes in and then see how that comes in and hopefully get started here within, fall maybe.
Well, we appreciate all the hard work. This ain't just, it's not easy. It takes a little time, especially if you're trying to do it planned.
Sure. Well, it's a good park project, and I think it's something that was well received at our community meeting. So we're looking forward to seeing what kind of builders we can get and some good quotes.
Well, thanks again for all your hard work.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Administrative Committee would be Jim Looney and Ann Snavy.
This committee did not meet in the last month. I know Sonia is trying to get both of us to stay in country a little while and set up a meeting in the near future, and we will certainly have something to report at the next meeting.
And did I hear that Ann is going to a foreign country called Alaska in the morning?
I am headed there tomorrow.
Have a great trip then. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Water Wastewater Committee, Dr. Proctor and John Faust.
Nothing really to report at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I spoke with David a little earlier today. He said that the road work at the hospital, the patch has been repaired and that part's done, but turnaround, the lift station has messed up. We're going to have some repairs done to it, but luckily some of the cost will fall under their insurance. But he hopes that they'll be able to get that done by the end of the week. And then now that when Gannett Drive, hopefully we'll be finished with that in a couple weeks, 2 weeks. They're about 95% done. Do you want to update us on that, Sonia? You said 95%?
Yes, sir. The project is actually 95% complete. I've approved to contract with a paving company today for paving and lines, and also we're contracting with a company to do the guardrails as well. So we're anticipating and hoping, fingers crossed, that project will take no more than 2 weeks to finish up.
Hallelujah.
Yes, sir.
Good news.
Good news.
Okay, Public Safety Committee met, I remember that very well, but we'll ask council members Redfield and Jim Mooney to bring a report to us.
Everything that was discussed at the meeting has been brought to council, voted on, and approved. So,
Fire department renovations.
fire department renovations. Somebody ready to make a report on that?
Well, we're in the process of, we will be submitting for bids for the work for that. The plans that we've received are 100% complete.
Okay, correct. And I'll also ask for if we have anything further, Dr. Proctor and Jim on the Perot Park at this time.
I have no update.
Kim can update something.
Okay, so we received our proposals for architectural services for the park project. We got that on Thursday. We received 6 bids and proposals. So I will be kind of separating those out into packages for each of the scoring committee members, and I'll have that package for you here within the next few days. Dr. Proctor, I will get you your package as soon as you get back. And then the scoring committee will need to meet to discuss and decide who it is that we're going to recommend to take before council.
Good, thank you.
Good.
Progress is being made. And now comes my favorite, one of them. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?